just standing on the sidelines while the rest of the world is somehow moving forward, even though you know you have so much potential, this explainer is absolutely for you. We're going to explore exactly why this happens and, more importantly, how we can finally break free from it. It usually starts with a really familiar, kind of painful cycle. You wake up late, start scrolling on your phone, tell yourself you're going to play just one more game or watch just one more quick clip, and you say, I'll get to work in a little bit. But let's be real, that little bit never actually comes. And by the time you're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., that heavy question hits you. What am I doing with my life? Society loves to look at this cycle and just slap the word laziness on it. People will tell you that you just need better time management or more discipline, right? Well, we are going to completely dispel that myth right now. Section 1. Not lazy, just avoiding reality. The psychology behind staying stuck. Okay, let's dive into this. What looks like laziness on the outside is in reality a profound, deep-seated avoidance on the inside. And it's wild because this can carry from your 20s all the way into your 60s. On the surface, someone might look like a fully grown, functioning adult, but quietly, a childish part of their mind is in a state of absolute panic over having to take on true responsibility. Chronic procrastination isn't some scheduling flaw that you're going to fix by downloading a new calendar app. It is a highly automatic psychological defense mechanism. It's literally designed to keep you safe from the sting of realizing you might not be perfect when you finally decide to try. This brings us to Section 2, Living the Provisional Life, the illusion of infinite freedom. See, a lot of us hold on to this extreme desire for absolute freedom. We desperately want to keep every single door open. But here's the catch. By keeping every door open, you ensure you never actually walk through any of them. The famous psychologist Carl Jung used a Latin term for this, puer aeternus, which translates to the eternal boy or the eternal child. It's this state where you treat your life as merely temporary. Think about it. Have you ever looked at your messy room and thought, well, it doesn't matter, this isn't my real house? We've all used that excuse. Even jobs and relationships become placeholders, because if everything is just temporary, well, then you never really have to put your full heart into anything. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate consequence of this trap, the spectator mindset. You essentially become the person sitting safely up in the stands. You just watch others throw themselves into life, work hard, and inevitably fail sometimes. Unconsciously, the spectator starts to feel a bit superior, right? Thinking everyone else is just trapped in a silly rat race while they themselves are destined for something truly special. But the reality is, the real growth happens down in the arena. And the arena's risky, it's full of failure, and it forces you to face a really harsh reality, which is exactly why the spectator completely avoids it. Staying uncommitted is just the perfect shield. I mean, think about it. When you never choose a specific career path, you can proudly maintain the illusion that you have the potential to be absolutely anything. By never truly giving your all, you avoid the painful, messy reality of having to start from zero. You keep all your dreams as these perfect, flawless ideas in your head, protecting the illusion that you could be the absolute best, as long as you never actually have to prove it. Section 3. The gifted child trap, when potential becomes a prison. So, the crucial point is, where does this fear actually come from? Well, the analyst Marie-Louise von Franz discovered something fascinating. She found that many of these eternal children were actually incredibly gifted kids. In childhood, you're actively rewarded just for your potential. You're smart, you catch on quick. It's safe, and frankly, it feels great. But the tragedy begins when you hit adulthood. Because the real world, it does not care about your potential at all. It only rewards results, persistence, and action. So for someone who grew up believing they were effortlessly special, stepping into an adulthood where you have to make mistakes, get rejected, and start at the very bottom, that feels like a direct, terrifying threat to their ego. You can almost think of this as the Icarus trap. Just like Icarus flew way too high on his wax wings because he felt completely untouchable, eternal children fly high on grand imaginary plans. They confuse the potential of what they could do with the real achievement of actually doing it. Listen, if you haven't trained yourself through small, tedious, real-world tasks, basically learning how to walk steadily on the ground, you are going to crash the moment your grand plans touch the heat of reality. Moving to Section 4, 3 Traps of Avoidance, How the Mind Protects the Provisional Life. When that gap between your fantasy world and reality gets too wide, your mind protects you by building this comfortable but totally empty cocoon, and it uses 3 specific traps to do it. First up is numbing. This is using endless gaming or toxic internet scrolling as an anesthetic, just so you don't have to feel the crushing discomfort of standing still. Trap number 2 is an extreme fear of commitment. This looks like pulling away the exact moment a partner asks for financial sharing or real future promises. And the third trap, the victim mentality, constantly blaming the harsh economy or an unfair society as the sole reason for your lack of progress. And that victim mentality actually brings us to a brilliant reframing of a classic story that totally changed how I look at this. In the Peter Pan syndrome, you see responsibility as the evil enemy, just like Peter Pan views Captain Hook. But guys, Captain Hook isn't the villain. He literally represents your boss, the rules of society, and the ticking clock of time itself. Those aren't evil. They're simply the realities pushing you to finally grow up and take the wheel. When you treat them as unfair enemies, you're accidentally handing over total control of your life to outside circumstances. Which brings us to Section 5, Escaping the Spectator Mindset, 4 steps to step off the sidelines. And look, I want to be clear here. Recognizing these traps isn't about sinking into guilt or beating yourself up. Not at all. It's about understanding your invisible enemy so you can take the real, firm actions of an adult to change your reality. Let's move to and see how this builds into an actual roadmap out. Here is a clear, 4-step path to pull your mind out of the clouds and plant it firmly back on the ground. Step 1, change your thinking about adulthood. Step 2, bravely embrace being ordinary. Step 3, practice exposure therapy with failure. And step 4, find an outside structure for accountability. Let's unpack these a bit. We so often think growing up kills our creativity and turns us into these boring gray people. But the absolute truth? Discipline is the only thing that makes creative ideas real. If you have a brilliant idea but no discipline, I'm sorry, but it stays on paper forever. You literally have to embrace being ordinary by doing the boring things, cleaning your room in silence, paying your bills on time, just to interact directly with reality. Then, you need to intentionally risk failure. Send out that resume and realize your character is shaped by falling down and getting back up, not by winning arguments in your imagination. And finally, you just can't rely on willpower alone. You've got to find strict mentors or a community who will absolutely not pamper your excuses. As we pull back and look at the big picture today, I want to leave you with this incredibly profound warning from Carl Jung. He said, "The greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of its parents." If you stay safely tucked away in the provisional life where everything is just treated as temporary, what you lose isn't just your own time. That sense of helplessness eventually mutates into a heavy burden that you accidentally pass on to your loved ones, your partners, and the next generation. Your unlived life literally becomes their weight to carry. So here's the bottom line. There is no magical moment that's going to pull you out of your room, and there's definitely no magic spell that makes you successful overnight. The only difference between someone with real achievements and someone trapped in a bubble of potential is simply the courage to make a fixed choice. So what's it going to be? Will you continue to watch your life pass by from the comfortable safety of the spectator stands, or will you finally choose to step down into the arena and face the